My name is Irena Hentea, and welcome to my show, Irena Hentea's Kitchen. I am here with ActonTV, and we're taping today a fabulous show. I want to show you how to make a fabulous meal that's almost effortless. So, Happy New Year. I hope you've had a great start in January. So let's get to it. So today I have quite a few things that are really simple and that I think you'll really enjoy. So take from it whatever you can. So another feature today, as you've seen in my other shows, are the quinces. So these wonderful fruits, we're gonna feature them in the dessert again. So these are the actual quinces. These happen to be out of my dad's garden. So they can grow all around in this area in the Northeast. And we're not going to use the fresh quinces this time, but I'm using them just to kind of show them to you. We're going to use the marmalade from Vermont Quince. And it's a fabulous small company. You can find this in stores or you can order them online. But she has this fabulous thing that it says, the quince is the ancient fruit of happiness, good fortune, and love. So who wouldn't want that? So let's start the year right. The other thing I'm going to prep that, and I have some scone. I have a scone, and I have some cinnamon donut muffins. All of these are from Springbrook Farm in Littleton, right nearby down the street. And I'm gonna make it easy to prep this dessert. Now, the other things I have is some tomatoes. I have a heirloom tomato from Springbrook Farm also, but also these backyard farm tomatoes that are Maine grown. They are simply fabulous. They're so great, they're local. And one of the nice things with this company is that it says, if you are eating these, we are within 12 hours of where you're finding them. So these are such a great thing. And we're going to use that as our vegetable for our meal. We're going to have a fabulous salad. And I am in love with this salad. We've been making it quite a bit lately. And it's a pear salad. And we have lettuce from Little Leaf Farms here in Massachusetts. Now we have basil that we're going to use with the tomatoes. And the meat that we're going to make today is a chicken schnitzel. It's kind of like a chicken tenders, but we call it a chicken schnitzel. I'm going to teach you how I make it. It's so easy to make, and it's going to be a fabulous thing. So let's get into it. First thing that, remember, I'm always teaching you what are the first things to do as you're prepping your meal. So the last thing we're going to make in this meal today is the chicken schnitzel, because you want it cooked really hot when you're serving it. And but first we're going to prep the other ingredients. So for the salad, I have these beautiful pears, and these are also from Springbrook Farm. I love getting them there because you can actually get pears that are like, that's it, you can use them that day. So they're not so green. They have some that are green that you can wait, but oftentimes I'm like cooking something at the last minute. So I want to be able to buy a pear that I can use right away. So I'm gonna cut the pears and I'm gonna cut the tomatoes, and I'm gonna show you how I prep all of this. And then we're going to get into doing the chicken schnitzel, and the salad. We'll do the dressing, and I'll show you how to put it all together right before serving. So let's go ahead and start right now with the pears. So I have these pears. I want to cut. I have 2 cutting boards here today, as I am going to cut both tomatoes and pears, and also cutting some basil. So I have the pear right here, and I cut it once through, and then we're going to cut one more time right here. Now what we want to do is we want to remove that portion right here. So this is the easiest way to always remove this portion here. So again, you just go like this, and you're essentially taking out the portion here that's really too tough. And then for the pear, what I do, you can do one of two things. You can cut it just like this in portions, and that's actually probably the simplest, or you can cut through one more time halfway this way and cut it again. Whichever you prefer, but really don't overthink it. It's very easy. And for the salad, you want to prep this, and you're only going to add your pear right at the end when you put together the salad. You're not wanting to essentially put it together with the dressing. You do the dressing and then, and then you do the dressing and then you add the pears right at the end. So I'll show you that. And you can see how fast this goes. And you can do the same technique with apples and actually with quinces as well. And again, it's easiest to just have one big knife and then the paring knife. So I'm going to use 2 pears in my salad today. I do have, look at this, I'm kind of twisting it around. I don't want too big to have it. So this side, I'll go ahead and cut it halfway again. And these are such gorgeous pears. All right, so now I have the pears ready, and I'm going to show you what I do with the tomatoes. So I have another cutting board here, but you can still use that. And I have, again, the Backyard Farms. And these, so they come in this one, the cocktail tomatoes. I only had a couple, and I couldn't find them at the store, but I also found these other ones that they have, which are a little bit bigger. I got to take this off. I did wash them ahead of time, but I wanted to show you kind of where they're sourced from. So these ones with the cocktail tomatoes, the wonderful thing is you just cut them in half. That's it. You cut them in half, oops, right there, something, and then you go in there. Now with this one, I do want to remove this white portion. At this point, this is not that great. So again, I cut it in half. You take your paring knife and you remove it, and you can see right in here, it's got like little spikes almost, but they're really tiny and really harmless. And then cut the tomato. And this will be, instead of having a vegetable that is cooked, I will be using the tomatoes like this. And I'll show you how wonderful it is. Now this, you can really get it done right now as you're making the meal, right in the beginning, because you will, all right, so this one is the heirloom tomato, and again, you're cutting. Now the reason you can do the tomato ahead of time is because you'll add some salt, add the vinegar, I'll show you in a second. Oh, look how gorgeous this is. This heirloom tomato just adds so much character to your dish right here. So I keep them fairly large, and it will be, you'll see it will plate beautifully. And there we go. All right, so you've got all your tomatoes done, and you've got a variety of things there. Now I have my basil. The awesome thing, this is also a locally grown basil from Springbrook Farm. They come right here. You can put it at home in water, so it's really nice. It will keep. Don't put it in the refrigerator. It will not help the little basil. And right now, this little piece of plastic that's above it, it acts like a little greenhouse. It keeps it fresh. It keeps it from drying. So I'm just going to slip this through right here like this. And I like a lot of basil in my things, but you know, you use whatever you can. And oftentimes, sometimes I'll buy this and I won't be using it again. So before you get it wasted, cut it. You can freeze it. It does great. I'm gonna go and get this washed, and then I'll cut it right here and show you how that goes really fast. So I've washed my basil that I'm gonna use today, and there are two ways that you can do it. But you remember, I love scissors for my herbs. So I'm gonna show you how I do it with the scissors. So I'm gonna take my bowl and I'm gonna cut it like this. It's so easy. Now you can take and do it with a knife. And if you are, don't use a paring knife because it's not gonna work easily, but take a bigger knife. But I'm gonna keep using my scissors. Well, let me show you how to do it also with this. If you are preferring that and can't find scissors, make sure you bring the herbs together like this, and then you can go with your knife. Always remember to keep your fingers behind. You do not want to use part of your fingers in the salad or with the basil. So here we go. But again, so you can move all of this in here. Now I am putting the basil in my container, where I'm gonna put the salad, at the bottom. I find that makes it really easy to then mix the salad. All right, now I am getting, here's the advantage with the scissors. I can go around the hardier stems. You don't really want to use that. But the ones that are tender, it's okay, you can use the stems. You know, I have some of the basils a little bit bigger. That's totally fine. It tastes great. It doesn't have to be tiny. Now, this portion of the basil, you could throw it away, or you could throw it in a pot and make, you know, if you're making some stock, that works great. Now, I have the basil in here. I'm gonna take the tomatoes, put right on top, and you can see how beautifully that works. And now I'm going to add salt. I love molten salt. You've heard me before. This I get in Westford at British Delights. So I take a whole pinch, so I'm getting a whole pinch, and I'm using quite generous amount of salt. I'm gonna use a second one. Tomatoes love salt. I'm not putting pepper in here. I prefer this without that. And the other thing I'm gonna add right now is some really, really good virgin olive oil in this case. And how much am I using? It's basically about 1/4 cup, but I'm kind of generously going around it. If you can get to the point where you can cook just without having to measure that, it will make things faster, and you will use it to the taste that your family has. Usually what you want to do with the olive oil and the balsamic in a salad like this, and it's kind of a salad, also a side dish, a tomato side dish, you want to use the equal amount of olive oil with equal amount of balsamic vinegar. And I have this balsamic vinegar from Trader Joe's. I don't buy really expensive ones, but I know some people really love, are connoisseurs with balsamic vinegar. So, you know, if that's what you like, of course. So again, I'm doing 1, 2. So there we go. I think that was 2. And you can leave this like this, and the tomatoes will release juices down. And as you're getting close to serving, you can mix it all up, and you'll bring up the basil up at the top. And that's it. You set this aside, and right before you serve it, we'll prep it. We'll do a quick toss. I love this Little Leaf Farms baby red and green leaf lettuce. It's already triple washed, or who knows how many times washed, but you really don't need to wash this. Toss it right in the salad bowl. And then I'm going to do a very quick vinaigrette that I'm going to go on top. I'm going to add a pinch of salt, a little bit of black pepper, maybe like 2 or 3 times you go around, and then the salad dressing. Now, this is such an awesome salad dressing. So what I'm going to use a little bit of lemon. So I'm cutting a fresh lemon. And I'm going to do a quick squeeze. So from that, but not the whole half lemon. So it's basically 1, 2. You can see that. And then also, this is really important, the rice vinegar. And do 1 around, not too much. You already have a little bit of lemon, so that's going to act as your acid. 2 swirls around of olive oil, 1, 2. And again, if you want to measure it out, it's a 1/4 cup of olive oil and then about 1/8 of the vinegar, because you're also doing 1/8 of the lemon juice, so it's a 1/4 cup there. Now, the key ingredient here is maple syrup. This just puts it all together. It's so amazing. So I'm going to use I guess it's not one, it's 2 generous swirls around, again, another 1/4 cup. And that in itself is just absolutely amazing. So this right here is for your salad, and don't add the pears beforehand. Add them right at the table when you're serving them. You don't want the pears to get too much of the dressing. You want the pears to really retain its fruit flavor, and the best way to do that is you just put them together right at the end. So that's it for that. It's so simple. Try this dressing. It's out of this world good. For dessert, I'm gonna show you something that's like so simple to do and so easy. Now, first of all, I want to talk to you about this book, Flour, which is Joanne Chang. She's an amazing baker. She has started these flour bakeries right around Boston and Cambridge. If you haven't gone, you really should go. You would love it. So this is a great cookbook if you have the time to, on a Sunday afternoon or Saturday to like bake. This is great. What I'm going to use for dessert is this lemon ginger scone. She has a fabulous recipe for it, for lemon ginger scones. I have this cookbook and she actually has it autographed, so I'm quite excited by it. And it says, eat dessert first. So why not, right? Now, I didn't bake this. I am doing this. I bought it from Springbrook Farms. They are a local bakery here in Littleton. I showed you the basil that I have from there, the pears I have today from there. They also have this amazing bakery where they bake everything fresh that day. So I have a lemon ginger scone, and I also have cinnamon donut muffins. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just prep them. I'm going to use the Quince Marmalade and a little bit of whipped cream, and that's going to be the dessert. And it's so easy, it's so fabulous, and what a great thing. So for the scone, I'm going to cut it. It's really so generous, and I'm going to just cut it in slices. So this one's a little bit big, but maybe I will leave them like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and plate it just like that. And for the cinnamon donut muffins, they're really tiny muffins, I am going to just cut them halfway like this. And I'm gonna arrange them on my plate. So you're gonna have 2 different awesome flavors going. So let's see, I think that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to take some of this marmalade, the Quince Marmalade, add a little touch on top, and all of a sudden you're making a baked good into a fabulous dessert right here. And don't worry, some of the marmalade is going to fall down, and it's fine. It will add a little bit of a mess, but it's beautiful cooking art, right? So some of it, and if you want to leave a couple without the marmalade in case some people want to have it without it. The Quince Marmalade, this is simply just out of this world good. You could use another marmalade. You don't necessarily. And then I just add touches of whipped cream. I think I have to shake it. All right. It's totally fresh. I love the Cabot. I think it's really great. At times you could add, your own vanilla or another flavor, or you could just leave it as is. And I just like to add it. People can serve it and add a little bit of whipped cream to theirs. And it just makes such a great dessert. It's beautiful, it's simple, and there you go. And you got this. We still need to make the chicken schnitzel. So I am going to show you the easiest way that I make it. So this, I got chicken tenders. I got organic ones. It's a little over a pound. That is quite ample or enough for a family of 4 or even 5. Now I take it off. I have this board here that I only use with meat. So have a board in the house that you don't prep vegetables or herbs or, God forbid, fruit. And so then I'm going to go ahead and take it. Now I use a knife to go ahead and press it down. The reason I do that, it will make it so much easier to cook uniformly. So if you see this, if I just leave it like this, it's much thicker here at the top. This way, I'm really getting all of them. So there you go. It's just apply a little pressure with a knife that that's a little bit wider. Now you could be picky and remove this little thing in here. And this is one way to do it. I honestly never bother because the reason I don't is my kids are a bit older. They can remove it. But if you have smaller kids, you can see you can do this and remove all of it. So up to you. I don't usually bother doing that, but you could do it, and you see again, you find it right here and then just measure it out. Now with the chicken schnitzel, what you need is hot oil. I'm using a cast iron pan. I love these. They're super great. And then I have eggs from Holiday Farm in Berlin. They're just incredible. So if you want to get absolutely awesome eggs, Holiday Farm, I think you can go on Facebook, you can find it, you can send her a message, and they open on May 7th. But up till then, you just need to message her that you're looking to buy eggs the next day or so. So it's kind of by appointment, but really totally worth it. And I am using a gluten-free flour. I'm using cup for cup. The reason I am is because in our family, some of us are using gluten-free, and this flour is really great. I don't measure how much flour I put in here because you really just want to cover, you know, all your chicken in there. The salt and pepper I do with the egg. So I'm going to go ahead and do 2 eggs. And what I'm going to do right here is I'm going to go ahead and break 2 eggs. And when I break these eggs with a fork, I add the salt and pepper. The reason it's really nice to add this, it adds the seasoning right in here. And it will just, it's really, really gives it that extra taste. If you have someone who can't have salt, then skip the salt and let them salt it, you know, let them without salt or whatever you need. So you see these beautiful eggs now. So let me flan a few more of these, and then I will check that my pan is hot enough. You need enough oil. So as usual, I am a big proponent of the sunflower oil. One way to check for the oil will be to add a little bit of water. I'm going to see how that goes right now. Don't add much, you just want to see. Okay, so it's kind of ready, but not completely. You want to do about 1 inch of oil in there. So it's first you do this. You mix the meat, the chicken in the flour. So I'm going to do, I have like 3 right here. I'm going to do a few more. And then I'm going to show you, it goes really fast. And you want to work really fast with the egg. Move this to the side. I'm making a little bit of a mess in here. So let's do 2 more. So I'm going to add 5. You don't want to overcrowd your pan. If you overcrowd it, it will make it a lot harder to cook evenly. So you always do the flour in here. And I don't ever use breadcrumbs. I think that absorbs way too much oil. But I know some people like that. But again, this is the recipe, how I make it. So then I have room in here for 2 at a time. So I will use 2 at a time. You do have to remember when you put it in the pan, kind of which ones are the first ones you put in, because you're going to be turning them. So there we go. All right. The first one, the second one, and once it goes in, you want to slow down your heat. You want it really hot when it goes in, but you don't want to cook it on super hot, because then it will just kind of burn and you're not going to be cooking. But you've already flattened your chicken, so you remember it's going to be cooking evenly, so that's really good. Well, I'm doing these one at a time now. Just for, it will go fast, and there we go. Do I have space for one more? Well, I think the next one will go in the next batch. I remember I started with these 2 and then the next 2. So this one you can see right here, it's already starting to brown a little bit on the edges. That's kind of how you'll know that it's ready. And let's see. Yep. You don't want these burnt. So right now I'm going to just turn it over. There you go. And it's just beautiful right there. Now this next one looks almost ready, but the other 2, especially the last one, it definitely isn't yet. So let's see how it's doing over here. And like I said, you start out on really high heat. You put it down low once you put them in, and then go up to a medium heat as they're cooking. All right, so this next one looks like it's ready. And just tip it over quickly, and look how amazing. It cooks so fast, and that's why you want to do this last. You're not wanting to make these and then wait and then do the vegetables and then do your salad. So you're doing this right at the end. It already has some salt and pepper, so you don't need to add more. But if you'd like to add more, feel free to it. This last one, I think we're kind of getting there. Let's see. Yes, although it looks like I turned it a little bit sooner than the others. So if you feel like you did, then after you cook it on the other side, just tip it back on the other side one more time so it cooks a little more. It's totally fine. It won't go wrong. So this last one here, it definitely needs more. So that is it for this. It's a super easy. Now you could get chicken breast. If you do that, then it's best to cut like at least halfway through, because they're way too thick, in my opinion. So it'll be like a lot harder to cook. Again, what you want to do is when you flatten it out, so when you have this, you don't have these, you know, it's not quite as thick as they come out in the package. And in terms of serving, I'd say, you know, depends how much you want to have. You can easily have 2 per person, or sometimes some people just want just 1, but you know, just make ample. It will always be good. All right, so let's see. I think this one is getting a little bit of browning on both sides, and I'm going to turn it over. And actually, it cooked a little more here than there, so that's okay. It can happen. Now let's see. My first one. So sometimes you'll be sitting there, you'll have the pan, and for whatever reason, on one side the oil is heating up higher than the other, so you'll be wondering why is that? Well, it is what it is. So go along with it. But you can see this is such an easy way to make a meal. It's effortless, almost effortless, almost. I remember I started with these 2 and then the next 2. So this one you can see right here, it's already starting to brown a little bit on the edges. That's kind of how you'll know that it's ready. And let's see. Yep. You don't want these burnt. So right now I'm gonna just turn it over. There you go, and it's just beautiful right there. Now this next one looks almost ready, but the other two, especially the last one, it definitely isn't yet. So let's see how it's doing over here. And like I said, you start out on really high heat, you put it down low once you put them in, and then go up to a medium heat as they're cooking. All right, so this next one looks like it's ready. And just tip it over quickly. And look how amazing. It cooks so fast, and that's why you want to do this last. You're not wanting to make these and then wait and then do the vegetables and then do your salad. So you're doing this right at the end. It already has some salt and pepper, so you don't need to add more. But if you'd like to add more, feel free to it. This last one, I think we're kind of getting there. Let's see. Yes. Although it looks like I turned it a little bit sooner than the others. So if you feel like you did, then after you cook it on the other side, just tip it back on the other side one more time so it cooks a little more. It's totally fine. It won't go wrong. So this last one here, it definitely needs more. So that is it for this. It's a super easy. Now you could get chicken breast. If you do that, then it's best to cut like at least halfway through because they're way too thick, in my opinion. So it'll be like a lot harder to cook. Again, what you want to do is when you flatten it out, so when you have this, you don't have these, you know, it's not quite as thick as they come out in the package. And in terms of serving, I'd say, you know, depends how much you want to have. You can easily have 2 per person, or sometimes some people just want just one. But you know, just make ample. It will always be good. All right, so let's see. I think this one is getting a little bit of browning on both sides, and I'm going to turn it over. And actually, it cooked a little more here than there, so that's okay. It can happen. Now let's see, my first one. So sometimes you'll be sitting there, you'll have the pan, and for whatever reason, on one side the oil is heating up higher than the other, so you'll be wondering, why is that? Well, it is what it is. So go along with it. But you can see this is such an easy way to make a meal. It's effortless, almost. Effortless almost. And it's a fabulous thing to do for your family. Let's see, this one is getting there. I'm checking it. All right, so it looks like I'm gonna need a plate for the top 2. The first 2, they're getting ready. So I'm gonna get those 2 out, and I'm gonna keep cooking the other 2. Okay. All right, so I'm ready with the first 2 that I dropped in. I'm ready to take them out. They're excellent on both sides, you can see. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab them out of the oil. Now, these other 2 definitely need a little more. Looks like on both sides they need a little more. So, all right. Now, as that one is going, I'm going to go ahead and add another one that I have prepped with the flour. So I'll add this in there. Again, I'm going to make sure I am adding it with some space. So I'm going to shift that around. You see you've got the pepper, the salt in there. You just go ahead and put it in. All right, so that's great. And you can go ahead and prep the next one while you're having that. So depending on how many you want to make, you can just keep going along like this. It works pretty easy. It's not complicated, and once you get the hang of it, nothing to be afraid of. It's super simple to make, and there we go. This last one is ready to be dropped in. There we go. All right, so let's see how this is going. All right, so now you remember that one I turned over a little too fast, so I'm putting it back. So this one as well. And then the other two are gonna take a while longer. We still need to put the pears in the salad, and then we kind of have it all ready. We'll also toss the tomatoes. The tomatoes are going to be our side dish. They're not cooked, they're just tomatoes with basil, olive oil, and balsamic vinegar. And it's such a fresh way. It's the middle of winter, but it's still going to feel so comforting, this meal. So now we're almost at the end of the meal. We made the chicken schnitzel, and we have the tomato dish that we're going to toss. We had the basil at the bottom. The nice thing about keeping the basil at the bottom, it won't get dry, and look at how beautiful now it mixes. So there we go. This is all mixed together, and I will put it on my serving dish that I have here. This is actually beautiful pottery from New Hampshire. It's called Sweetgrass Pottery. I am in love with it. Just think she does such amazing work. Her name is Sue Herrick. And then I have right here the salad, and I can use the same spoon. And I'm going to toss, again, we have the salad dressing in here. This was the rice vinegar, the lemon, a bit of olive oil, and maple syrup. So right now, I'm tossing it all, and it's not a lot of liquid in here, as you notice, which is exactly what you want, because you're adding now the pears. So the pears go right up here on top. It's so amazing. You can mix it, of course, but be certain that you're serving it right away. So we're at the end of making the dinner, and here it is plated. We've got the chicken schnitzel, we've got the tomato dish, it's fresh tomatoes with basil, and we've got this awesome salad with pears. Now we also have this fabulous dessert. It's kind of just put together at home. We, of course, can go ahead and bake our own scones and little muffins, but you can also get them from your favorite bakery. And in this case, I got them from Springbrook Farm. So I'm gonna go ahead and plate a little bit of that as well. And it's with whipped cream, with Quince Marmalade from Vermont Quince. And look how awesome this also looks. I hope you enjoy this meal. I hope you get to make it, whether it's a small portion of it or all of it. If you'd like to reach out to me, I'd love to hear from you. I always love to get mail. And my email is Irena, I-R-E-N-A, at irenarealtygroup.com. Contact me with any questions, where to find things, whatever you might have liked here. And enjoy this month and enjoy winter. It's one of the favorite seasons here in New England for a lot of folks. I know it's cold, but making a meal at home is just so wonderful. This is almost effortless. You saw, we prepped it, we got it ready, and it's a great thing. I hope you enjoy it with your loved ones.